All right, y'all. So we went over Photobashing the other week, and I just want to kind of do this again and send you this video. Pretty much Photobashing is just a fancy way of saying collaging, and what we're doing, we are going to collage an original character using pre-existing material out there. We can find that material on the internet, in books, anything that we can find that has like a full body figure. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut up that figure, change the colors, and re-put them together to make an original character. So the main point of this assignment is to create original character and try to make it as original as possible, and to explore different things put together. So I have a few images in Photoshop. Um, it doesn't matter what images you get, um, but it matters how we put them together. The first thing I want to do, I want to make a new file. And as we should know, we should go to File, New, and then let's change some things around. Um, Last time we made pixel art, so it might be still in pixels. We don't want that. We want it in inches. We want the resolution to be 300. And since we're working with a figure, maybe let's go by 12 by 15. We can always change the size again with our crop tool, or go to images and change the size. And let me take out this window and make it a little bit bigger. All right, so we have a blank canvas right now, and I have my layers, I have my history, and I have all of this stuff over here. And we need to pick one of these characters, and let's go with, actually, let's go with this. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So this image is kind of a little bit pixelated already. That's okay for me. It might not be okay for you. So if you need high quality images, there's a way to do that. But for the sake of this video, let's continue. We're gonna double click our layer so we unlock it. And we need to take out the background of this image. So that's our magic wand tool. For this project, the magic wand tool is going to be your friend. And then we can select the area and we can delete it. And once we delete it, we can see that checkerboard pattern. That's when we know the background is gone. If you see a complete white background or a different color, that means that your layer is not unlocked. And right now we can see in this image, um, since the hue was the hue of the hand was so close to the bright white of the background, it actually deleted that background as well. Um, that's fine for me because I don't want that part, but if you needed that, you would have to go through a few other steps. But for right now, I want this clown. And let's say I want to delete the head. Um, I can do that in various different ways. I can use the eraser tool and just erase it. Um, but there are a few easier ways to do that. We can use the lasso tool and just go around the whole subject. There we go. And then I can press delete or backspace, and then we can control D to deselect that area. And it's a little bit cleaner. Sometimes I prefer to use the eraser tool, and sometimes I like to use the lasso tool. It really depends. There's no right or wrong way to do that. It's just sometimes it's a preference. I want to clean up this area, so I'm going to use the eraser tool. And I want to break down this form a little bit more. I want to take out the arms and possibly the legs and put them into my main canvas. So I'm going to use the lasso tool for that. And we can see here, quick and easy, quick and easy fix. Um, yeah, let's take out those legs. I do not want them. There we go. Clean up a few areas. And then let's bring in that torso into our main canvas. So to do that, we are in our area, we're on the canvas. We have the move tool. Make sure that's selected. And then we can just click and drag. It is right there, but it's super small. Maybe we could have resized the original, but we can also drag it and change the size a little bit bigger. It looks pixelated right now. It's because it's selected. But if I press enter, we can see that there's a little bit more clarity in the image now. So let's change the size, press enter. We are all good. We can also control T on our layer to change the size. But overall, if you go up and down, that's how you do that part. All right, so I have the torso. Let's see what else we have. I kind of like this arm, so I'm going to steal this arm right now. And I'm still going to use my lasso tool. Got that. And we can click and drag. Same way as before. Maybe change the size. Actually, I like that size. I like that. If I want this arm underneath this torso, so we have the two layers, just move that layer down. That looks a little bit more natural. And I'm going to go around and pick and choose from the photographs I have different sections that I want. So I want these legs because I like that base of the figure. I'm going to deselect that layer, press OK, and I want to take it out the background. Make sure you click on the layer. If you can't see that well, let's use our zoom tool. And I definitely want the torso, the legs of this character. So again, I'm going to use the lasso tool. I'm going to click on the area I want. Use our move tool. Bring it into our canvas. And then we can resize this character. It down just a little bit. And I'm just going to use the crop tool just to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to use the eraser tool just to delete some of that torso. It's slowly coming together, but eventually it's going to look pretty disjointed. It's going to look like a collage. Um, we might want that look depending on what type of character we want to make. Or we can play around a little bit more, and I'll show that in a second. Let's see. Um, I'm going to duplicate this arm. So you right click and you duplicate layer. And then Control T, and then you hold on to Control T, and then we can move it on the other end. There's various different ways you can do this specific thing. I just like to use the Control T. Minimize this. I actually want to use last video's pixel art as for the head. So I want to click and drag that into Photoshop as well. Let's see where it is at. There we go. I want to bring in the big version. Bring that in. It's going to open up. I like to select it, bring it in. We need to unlock the layer, press OK. Magic wand tool, select. We delete. Control D to deselect. And then now I can click and drag my pixel art into our workflow. We can change the size, press enter, and let's move the layers. So now we're starting to mash some pixel art in with these collage elements. And let's move this up just a little bit more. So this is like a crude example of photo bashing. We could draw back into this. We can collage a lot more into it. All the various different parts. We don't have to stop of just collaging the legs. We can go back in there and add detail from other photos. And that's like up to you to explore. For me, for right now, we're not going to go into that process, but you don't have to do 100% step by step what I'm doing. I actually encourage all of y'all to explore what this character is going to look like for you. And most likely, you have to do 5 of these for my class. Um, so you have plenty of time and resources to make this as original as you want. I want to duplicate this torso actually. So I'm right clicking, duplicating the torso, and let's try to make this a little bit bigger. I want to hold on to Control T, and I want to kind of make it a little bit wider. And then press enter, and I want to use my erase tool and kind of start erasing a little bit so I can see these arms. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And I'm trying to blend my two layers together just from deleting some stuff I don't want. And we can see like the top and the bottom. There we go. That looks good to me. We can add some stuff in the hands. I don't know if I want to do that right now. I want to delete some fragments that are left behind. So let's go into those hands a little bit. Make sure we're selected on the right layer. And now we can delete some of this extra stuff. And I want to delete some of the sword that was left behind. There we go. All right. So I want to only change the color of the body. And I want to leave the pixel art head alone for right now. And you might be asking, how do we do that? So my pixel art is up on the top. I am going to undo the eye tool. And now the eye tool is gone. And actually, I want to undo the background layer as well. And I'm going to go to layer and merge visible. And once we do that, all of the layers with the eye icon on, all of those are going to become one layer. And I want to take out some of this white that I missed from before. And then we can still see our character again. All right, so I have this character, and I showed all of y'all in class um, how to change the color, but this is like a little refresher how to do that. Um, we could, in theory, uncolor the whole image. How do we uncolor the whole image? We get an image, an adjustment, and most of the stuff that we're doing that I showed you in class are in the adjustment section. So that's up on the top, image and adjustment. And then we can desaturate. And that makes it black and white. In assignment one, I showed you how to do it from image mode, but that changes a lot of different things. It makes it black and white. You can't really go into these different modes. For right now, we're going to image, adjustment, desaturate. Now we can start playing around. We can go back in image, adjustment, and then we can go into hue and saturation. If I mess around with the hue and saturation right now, nothing is changing, except we can make the image fully black or fully white. So if you needed like a different layer and you wanted to make like a shadow, or if you wanted to like have just the silhouette of the character, you could definitely use this method. But for right now, for us, we want it right in the middle. So how do we change the hue and saturation for this image? See this little box right here, the colorize? We want to click that on. And you can see there's a red tint on our image. Now we can mess with the saturation to make it really red for right now. The only reason why it's red is because the hue's all the way down on the one end. We can now change the hue and we can make it across the rainbow spectrum. For us, let's do a blue. Let's put the saturation up a little bit more. Okay. Um, not we can change this a little bit more. So this is a good contender for the body. And the main thing with our character, we're using different assets, we're putting them together, and we want the whole thing to be cohesive as much as possible. And that's why we're going through all these steps. So this is a good contender, um, but I want to duplicate this layer. Now I'm duplicating the layers because I want to like mess with each one, and I could even collage with the different layers as well. So now I have this layer. Let's like change the colors in a little bit more extreme way. So again, we're going to go to image. We can go to adjustments. And let's go to threshold. Okay, this is starting to look good. So the threshold makes things completely black and white. Think about um, like Xerox posters from like the 80s, punk posters. When you put something through a Xerox machine, um, it would make it completely black and white. And I like this effect. And we have in the threshold section, we can make everything completely black or completely white. So I like two different sections. I like the threshold at 141, but I also like it around like 89. What happens if you like both? I want to pick a section. I want to press OK. There we go. Then I want to duplicate my color layer, deselect this, the threshold, and do that step again. There we go. I like both. And let's like change this a little bit more. So let's start with this. I want to change the black and white into two different colors. How do we do that? We can go to the selection tool and we can go to color range. And with our color range, we're going to have the eyedropper tool automatically selected in this area. And then I can select the black or white. So let's select all of the black. But if you notice, it's selecting all of the black for both layers. So let's cancel that for right now. Deselect the eye from our pixel art head, and let's go back. We want to select color range, and then we're going to select all one color. In this case, black. So we can see all of the black selected, and then we can go to edit and fill. Then with our edit and fill, we're going to have a bunch of different options. We can have, we have the opacity, we have the mode. We don't have to worry about right now. It should be set on normal. The contents is what we really need. So each time you go into the section, you have to go down and press color, even though it's on color. And then since it's like we're working with blues for right now, at least I am, I'm going to select a certain blue. Let's just go for this right now. Then we press OK. And then everything that was black should be blue at this point. There we go. And let's change all of the white. So I want to press Control D to deselect. And then we're going to do it again. We're going to go to Select, Color Range, select all of the white, and then we press OK. All of the white should be selected. Then we can go to Edit, Fill, make sure to press Color again, and then we can change the color. So let's go for like maybe a darker blue. And then deselect. Now we change the color. That's all right. Maybe I could change it to red. We'll do that again. Undo to fill. We're going to redo to fill. Let's pick like a dark red. That's okay for right now. The one thing that I did not go over is we can, since the pixel art head has like a thick, dark outline, we can actually do that with each layer. So if you right click the layer, you can go down to blend in options. And then in blend in options, we can go to stroke. And then we have all these different options. We can change the size of the stroke. Is it inside the image or outside the image? The blend mode, which normal is fine, the opacity, and then the color. If you click on the color, you can make the stroke any color we want. And since it's selected, we can see a little bit of a black outline, but I want it a little bit like chunkier. And we just change the size of the structure of the stroke. That's fine for right now for me. I'm gonna press OK. I want to delete some of this fragments that are in here, and then we're gonna move on. I'm gonna do the process again with this layer because I like certain things from that, and I want to combine the two. So let's change that again. Select color range. Make sure the head of our character is not there. So we uh, click on the eye. Press OK. And then we go to Edit, Fill. Click on the color again. And let's go for a dark red. We're a little bit darker. And then we press OK. And then we do the same thing with the white. We have to make sure to Control D to deselect. Select color range. Click on the white. Press OK. And we're going to go for like a darker blue. We go to Edit Fill. Click on the color. A little bit darker. All right. And then we have these two layers. I like some things from each one. I want to delete some stuff from the top layer. For me, I'm just going to use the eraser tool. We could just use the lasso tool and take out areas. But you can see that we're making the character more original than it was before from the photograph. And that's the whole idea from this project. Let's see this. We need to, let's change the opacity of it so I can see underneath. There we go. Make sure the layer is there. And then I can go in and maybe select a few things. Actually, all of this is great. Let's move on after this step. Let's change the opacity back to 100. Okay, that's fine for right now. We could mess with that a little bit more. I don't think we're going to unselect the first layer, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to merge just the visible layers. Again, we go to layer, merge visible. And it's getting somewhere I might consider these two things go together. But we could also pixelate the body. Just because it has a pixel art head, maybe we should pixelate it so we can unify the whole image. So, how to do that? We have to make sure the body of our image is selected. We go to Filter, Pixelate, and then we can go to Mosaic. And then we can start messing around with how pixelated we want our image. If we over pixelate it, it might be too much. This is maybe a good middle ground. Let's click on that. Duplicate this layer, put it on top. I want this visible. I'm going to change the color of this with just a hue. Adjustment, hue saturation. I want a little bit more of a red. And let's turn down the opacity. Actually, this gives it a little bit more realism a little bit. Maybe change it a little bit more. Yeah, I kind of like that better. Maybe we could try to threshold that one more time. But you notice that I'm starting to play around, making different layers, changing the opacity, forming things together. Maybe that's too much. Let's clean up this mess. Actually, let's flatten this whole thing down and save it. Um, we could work on this for the next 5 hours. We could add a bunch more things like a sword, but as of right now, I think this is a good place to kind of end this portion. And then the next video, we'll talk about how to animate this using the puppet warp method. So right now, I want to merge these layers. So I'm selecting everything now, and I want to merge visible. And I want to click this layer. We don't need this background layer. So I'm actually going to delete it. There we go. And I want to clean this up a little bit for saving. And since we're going to puppet warp this, I want to delete some of these connecting pieces. Make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Again, we could use the lasso tool. But for the next step, I don't want these connected. It's a crude delete job. And we have this full character. Everything looks good. And I want to save it. So I want to save this as a PNG. So for the next step, we definitely want it as a PNG with no background. So we go to File. We go to Save As. Let's name it uh, Double Clown. And let's name it 0. We're going to save it. We press OK. It's a PNG. It should say it up here, the name PNG. Make sure the size is right. The size is good. We use the crop tool to make it a little bit bigger, and that's why that changed. But it's a 300 resolution, and this is a good size. So the next step, I want to show you how to puppet warp and expect that video out and soon.